These are the things you didn't know about. Let's go. An animal that's been a top predator for hundreds of millions of years must be really cool, just like a crocodile, which not only can swim fast, but can also jump. Wait, what? Yes, crocodiles can jump. They use their powerful tails, moving them from side to side like snakes, and it only sounds funny. Crocodiles can literally jump out of the water to a decent height to catch low-flying waterfowl, and by the way, they're also great runners. In fact, some are able to gallop like horses. No, I agree it sounds a little ridiculous, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a hungry crocodile. Who knows when it will decide?
Whoa!
Sunset's one of the most beautiful things on Earth, but take the Earth's atmosphere out of the conditions, and you get a completely different sight. For example, yes, at least on Mars, the sunset on the red planet, contrary to all logic, is blue. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Mars is farther away from the sun, and dust and other small particles in the atmosphere change the color of the sky. Also, Mars has less than 1% of Earth's atmosphere, and this affects the scattering of light. That's why the sky here is reddish in the daytime and turns to a dull shade of blue closer to sunset. The Star Wars universe has a lot of awesome details, but one of them, of course, is lightsabers, and since they're so cool, they really need to be brought to reality. Engineer and blogger James Hobson and his team have created a fully functional lightsaber, and it's really a weapon, not just an oblong light bulb. The sword is attached to a tank of propane and oxygen, which are released through nozzles. The result is a stream of plasma heated to 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Such temperatures mean that the blade can cut through almost anything except for the ring from Lord of the Rings, I guess. God, why did you go to Mordor? You could have just called the Jedi. Snakes know how to devour huge prey whole. Their jaws and bodies are literally designed in such a way they can cram a lot of tasty stuff inside. But sometimes that tasty stuff, instead of being digested for weeks, turns out to be way too big. You know what it's like when you try to bite into a burger that's too big and it won't fit in your mouth. Well, these snakes had a victim that was too big. Yep, they overdid it. No biggie though. Another version is that the prey was uncooperative and for some reason got into the stomach alive and then tried to get out. The result? Well, the result's the same. I don't think there's going to be a second course. Everybody's dead. If you go outside and suddenly find creepy-looking waves over your head, don't panic. Most likely, it's not the end of the world, but the clouds of the species Undulatus asperatus. Just look at them. Makes you feel uneasy. But asperatus don't promise an immediate apocalypse. Well, probably not. At least they're not even accompanied by a hurricane or a thunderstorm. They just look like this. Anyway, you'd better get your phone out and take pictures. You'll get lots of likes because this phenomenon is still pretty rare. Okay, I know, I already made a reference to Lord of the Rings, but if that's not where the filmmakers were inspired when they created Mora, then, well, they should have been. The Tokyo Underground Flood Protection Tank is one of the largest underground flood control facilities in the world. It's a huge system of tunnels and reservoirs that collect water under the city and send it into the river using pumps. Sounds pretty simple, but how awesome does it look? The tank looks like an underground palace with giant halls, columns, and tunnels, and you can move freely inside a car. Water is collected in 5 vertical reservoirs, the biggest of which is about 70 meters high. That is, it would fit in the Statue of Liberty without a pedestal, and there'd still be room. Ask anyone how lightning strikes, and anyone will tell you it's from above. The discharge originates in the clouds and then hits the ground, but it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes nature does this. The direction of lightning is determined by the direction of the electrical field. Usually a negative charge builds up in the clouds and a positive charge builds up on the ground. In terms of physics, it makes sense. Yet, in less than 1 case out of 20, it happens that the cloud is positively charged, then everything is turned upside down and lightning can strike from the ground into the sky. To shoot an avalanche, you have to get in its way, and preferably you have to survive it. Who would take a job like this? Well, the fact is there are people in the world who professionally risk their lives to remove avalanches. Whoa, wait, what? Why do they do that? Well, for the sake of beautiful pictures. Well, not only that, with the help of these shots, meteorologists can study the behavior of avalanches, predict them, and save lives. I don't know about you, but I associate giant robots with Japan. It's not surprising that it's the country that built the 60-foot-tall robot from the anime Gundam. The huge structure weighs 28 tons, and its creation took about 6 months. But in the end, the result is not just a statue but quite a living model. It can walk, move its arms, move its head, squat, and cause genuine excitement among fans. The robot's supposed to be a part of a theme park, but it's unclear if it'll open anytime soon. The height restriction can be a serious problem for truck drivers in all countries. A little hesitation, not paying attention to the sign, forgetting the dimensions, and Durham, North Carolina. Single railroad bridge on one of the roads that even has its own Facebook page. It's also nicknamed Can Opener and Gregson Street Guillotine because it very often takes the roof off of cars again and again and again. And it's pretty simple. The bridge was built in 1940 when the standard vehicle height was 11.7 feet. Today, it's 14 feet, and that 28 inches has caused many drivers their car, at least the top of their car. The stone that looks like an egg falling out of a new Scamander suitcase is definitely something to look out for, at the very least, because it's really very pretty. These stones are called Upper lights and were accidentally discovered by Eric Renata Tomoki 2017. If you look at Upper lights with the naked eye, they look like regular river pebbles, but in ultraviolet light, everything is transformed and the cobblestones become similar to molten lava. But in spite of their beautiful appearance, these stones have no jewelry value. They consist of two normal types of rocks. The first one is cyanide, which is similar to ordinary granite. The second one is sodalite, an alkaline rock that contains chlorine, sodium, aluminum, and silicon oxides. As far as I understood, it's so light that shines, and there were a lot of these rocks. Well, Eric now quit his job and devoted his life to looking for them. There's even a store on his website that sells jewelry, stone hunting kits, UV lighting lanterns, and merch. Why not? Personally, I try to stay as far away from bees as possible. They're very unpredictable, and there are people who not only mess around with these insects all the time, but also do this. No, you're not looking at a very specific way to put yourself to the test, but something of a hobby. All over the world, there are weirdos who try very hard to get as many bees to land on their body as possible. Imagine having, for example, 100,000 bees crawling all over you at the same time. First of all, in such a case, you have to be very careful not to upset the insects. Don't make sudden movements. Don't show aggression. Don't be afraid. Probably shouldn't breathe. And also in advance, be sure you put the queen bee somewhere on your body. That's how the other bees flock to you. People are very, very weird. A swing can not only squeak, but it can make a beautiful melody. I'm not talking about one that's pre-recorded and then played through a loudspeaker. This is much more interesting. Each swing is responsible for a particular note, and if several people swing together, let's be honest, they create something really, really beautiful. People like to experiment with selections. For example, they once had the idea to create black apples. Yeah, they're called black diamonds, and the unique fruit is grown mainly in Tibet at an altitude of about 9,843 feet above sea level. It's believed that these apples get their color because of the unusual conditions in which they grow. During the day, the fruits get a lot of light, which turns the peel from its characteristic red color to a dark purple color. There are many really dangerous roads in the world that you want to stay away from, but this route, located in Peru, is terrifying even for people who aren't afraid of heights, because it's not just the fact that cars regularly fall off the road. Rocks can fall from the top at any moment, and the conditions of the road better such that few drivers would dare to drive here. But the locals say the winding bus route through the mountains is a blessing, as they used to have to walk the whole way. If you've ever shot off fireworks, you know that it's best to keep them as far away from your body as possible, just so something irreparable won't happen by accident. But this Frenchman, Laurent Knott, is the kind of person who just loves taking risks and fireworks. For more than 10 years, he's been engaged in pyrotechnics, and he's learned even to launch projectiles right from his own body. To do this, he had to design a special cotton suit, which is inspired by the clothes of professional firefighters. Then he worked out, walked on stilts, and got on a motorcycle. In short, this is all for a spectacular show, and I got to say, the show is truly mesmerizing. If the human firework has any superpower, it's the ability to create a festive atmosphere and the desire to keep a fire extinguisher close by. Hey, look what I found, a leopard lake. Okay, actually this lake in Canada is called Spotted Lake or Kliluk, and it has nothing to do with leopards. It's a shame because it's all covered in spots. It seems that the lake consists of many smaller lakes, most of which don't connect. So they're all colored in different shades, all because there's a high concentration of various minerals in Kliluk. In the summer, most of the water in the lake just evaporates, exposing the bizarre color deposits. In addition, the minerals harden, forming natural paths around and between the patches, and in the fall the lake becomes almost normal again. We'll see you soon.